Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Brigitte, and if you haven't subscribed already, please do subscribe it and join the team, join the group, and let's make this coin together, okay? So today we're going to be doing a video on credit. So for some people, this is a iffy subject because you either don't have credit, don't know what credit is about, don't know how to get credit. So I'm just going to break it down to you a little bit so that you can do that. So when it comes down to credit, me personally, I had no, let me turn this off. I had no experience with credit. So I went to a family member and asked them, can you kind of tell me about credit? Because I'm interested in a credit card and stuff like that. So what that family member pretty much told me is that with credit, say for instance, you just got a new apartment or something like that, you would go buy a TV, and then when your bill comes, you pay it off right away instead of paying it off in portions. And what that pretty much means is that when you get a credit card, say for instance, if your limit is $200, they can put you on a payment plan to where you pay $20 instead of paying off that whole $200 a month. So instead of doing that, my family member was saying as soon as that bill come, pay off whatever amount that TV was. So if that TV was on $175, pay off that $175 instead of paying $20. You understand? So that's one way of doing it, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend to do it that way either. Now, when you first get a card, you want to first make sure that it is a secure card if you're starting off your credit. If you have no credit, meaning you have never had a credit card a day in your life, that means you don't have any credit. Unless your mother used your social security number to get a credit card, you or somebody used your social security number to get a credit card, which is illegal, by the way, you have no credit. So that means you have to build credit. In order to build credit, you would have to get a secure credit card. Now, secure credit card means that you will typically start off with a low balance of like $200 to $300, and you have to first pay something towards that. So in most cases, I think sometimes they'll start off at $100 that you have to pay towards that, or there are some cards I think that you have to put the balance. So if you want $300 on a card as your balance, you have to give them $300, and then you have a balance of $300. Okay, like that. So in this case, with the unsecured credit card, you typically do not have to give them money like that upfront. They give you a credit line upfront. So say for instance, they give you $1,000, which is typically high, but if they give you $1,000 credit line, they will give you $1,000, but you have to pay like the annual fee. So you got to pay like $49.99 or like something like that just to start off the card, because that's their annual fee. And then it's like a startup fee or something like that. So with that being paid, then they'll give you that $1,000 credit line, and then you can go from there. So with any credit card, secure credit card, if you're a beginner with credit, when you get your secure credit card, you will, like I said, make a deposit. And with that deposit, you will get a line of credit from like $200 to $300. And you want to make sure you do not spend more than 10% to 30% of that credit card. Ever, 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 ever. Never, never, never spend more than 10% to 30%. So if your credit card is $200, 10% of that is $20. If it's $300, 10% of that is $30. You want to never make sure you spend more than 10 to 30% of that card. And the reason why that is, if you go over 30%, the credit bureau or the credit lender of that card looks at you as almost like red light. Like, okay, this person is spending over 30% of this card. Now, to them, that makes it seem like you have no other income anywhere else. Because let's logically think of it. If you have money somewhere else, there's no reason why you should be using your credit card all the time. You shouldn't be using your credit card every time you have to go to the grocery store, every time you have to go pick up pads, or to go to CVS, or just randomly using your credit card when you can use your debit card because you have money somewhere else. And so when a lender sees that you're using your credit card a lot, almost as if it's a debit card, that sends a red signal up to them, and it makes them see that you are not a good creditor. Because in most cases when people do that, they're doing that seriously because they don't have money anywhere else, so they're using it as their source of income. And if they're using that as their source of income, when it's time to pay it back, they usually won't be able to pay it back, or they'll have at some point problem paying it back. So that's why you always want to, the main thing with lenders is they want to see you as a responsible creditor. And if you're a responsible creditor, they will lend you more and more and more and more. You can start off at $300, but if they see that you're responsible, I'm thinking like 6 months, it can go from like 300 to 500, and then from 500 to 800 to 800 to 1,000, and it'll keep going up. And at that point, you'll go from being a secure card to an unsecured card where people are giving you big lines of credit. So yeah, you want to make sure you never spend more than 10% to 30% in order to not send them a red flag up. Now, other than that, you really want to make sure that once you spend that 10% to 30%, that you do pay it off right away. So if you're spending 10% of $200, you're spending $20. Let's say you have to pay your bill the 5th of every month. If I'm spending $20 in December, $20 in November, I want to make sure in December, by December 5th, I'm paying off that $20. You understand? You never want to take their minimum balance. Do you understand me? If you spend 30% of your card, you want to make sure you pay off that balance by that due date. So say for instance, if you spend $100, if you have $300 and you spend $80, right? But they say, okay, we'll give you a $20. You have to at least give us $25 a month towards your bill. Don't take that. If you spent that $80, make sure you pay that $80 off. Don't take the minimum $25 a month to pay off that $80. Don't do that, because like I said, you want to show them you're a good creditor. And if you're a good creditor, when you borrow money, you can pay it back. When you spend the money and you pay it back fast, that shows like, wow. It's almost like if you loan somebody money, right? Personally, right? Like if you give your cousin $20 and your cousin says, bro, by next week I'll pay you this $20 back, and that next week comes and that $20 comes back to you in full, not 10, not 15, but 20, you will look at that person like, oh, this is a sincere person. I know that next time if they ask me for something, I won't hesitate to give it to them. And that's how the credit lenders think of. That's what they think of when they loan to you. The quicker you can pay something back, they look at you like you're reliable. And that's what you want every lender to think of you. You're reliable, you're trustworthy. A reliable and trustworthy creditor will always get big lines of credit. So, yeah, do not take out a credit card if you do not have a reliable source of income. Okay? When I was young, I took out credit cards, even secure credit cards. They were not unsecured, meaning that I would have to pay a balance on them to even start them. I would take them out and would not have a secure line of income. I would not have income coming in on a constant basis. So say for instance, if I got a job, lost a job, got a job, lost a job, things like that. Like, we can't predict our future, but at the same time, if you know that you're the type of person that doesn't keep jobs, it is not wise for you to go take out a credit card, because what's going to happen is that you're going to take out that line of credit, and for a few months you may be doing like what I told you to do, and you'll be on your, on a good track. But when you lose that job, of course, you won't be able to pay, unless you have a savings somewhere, you won't be able to pay that money back. And so with you not being able to pay that money back, you're going to start to develop bad credit. And that's the main thing. You don't want to start develop bad credit. Stay on the up and up. In order to stay on the up and up, make sure you have a constant flow of income. Make sure you don't spend too much of your card. Make sure you pay it back on time in full, not in partial. And also make sure that you keep your credit cards open. So say for instance, if you open up a card in 2012, you should still have that credit card open. And if it is closed, like say for instance in 2012 you missed a few payments, you weren't able to make up your payments, the best thing you should do is try to make, if you have to, make payment arrangements with that credit card company. And if they say, okay, well, we were not able to make those kind of arrangements, and they end up closing your card, you can actually, if you ever have cards closed, you can actually do your best to reach out to that credit card lender or credit card company, some may say, and be able to ask them to open up that card again. Yes, you can be able to ask them to open up that card again. Sometimes the reason why they close it is because they don't see activity. They don't see any activity of you paying it back, because obviously you don't have money paid back, or that you haven't called them. They've been trying to call you and you haven't been answering, and we all know you can dodge the calls that you ain't trying to pay for. Okay, we all done it. I've done it. Okay, when they start seeing that and they think that you're kind of abandoning what you owe them, and if they feel like you're abandoning what you owe them, they're then going to send it to collections, because in a sense they're saying that this person owes me this money and I can't find them, and since I can't find them, I'm going to send this to collections and it's going to go on their credit. So they're going to look like a bad creditor, someone who's unreliable. So to prevent that, you need to be, if that does happen to you, don't worry, reach out to your credit card company and simply, sometimes you got to put the little cheesy on and really try to convince them to open up that line again. And once they open up that line again, that will not it may have negatively affected you when it closed it, but when they reopen it, it will positively affect your credit and watch your credit go up. Also, even with collections, sometimes you can contact collections and see like some of the things that you owe. They actually have sometimes they'll have I don't want to call it like a promo, because it's not what it's called, but sometimes they'll have these arrangements that you can do, in the sense to where say for instance, if you owe somebody $500 and it's been quite some time, sometimes they'll do these arrangements if this month you pay us $200 out of that $500, then we'll erase the rest of your debt. Whenever you get that opportunity, if possible, take it. Listen to me, take it. Because or even sometimes if they don't offer you can ask them is there any way if I pay a certain amount of this debt that you guys can erase the rest of my debt, because there are times where they can erase those debts. Also, please guys, do not pay for a credit fixer per se, because the simple way to fix your credit is to simply pay off your debt. Yeah, that's it. Pay it off, sis. That's the best way to fix your credit. Nobody is gonna fix your credit except for you. Pay off your debt, sis. And so as soon as you pay off your debt, sometimes you'll find that there's still things on your credit. I have paid off some of my debt before, and it still shows on your credit, but it shows that the account is closed and the account the amount due is 0. And if it's showing that the amount due is 0 on your credit, that's not going to negatively affect your credit. If you want, those things will tend to drop off. Sometimes they'll drop off like I think 6 to 8 months. And if they don't drop off, sometimes you can contact the credit bureaus and petition to get it take off, letting them know like, hey, I paid this thing off, it's still on my credit and stuff like that. That's a whole nother video on how to do that. That does take a little bit of time, and you have to be very, very detailed when contacting the credit bureaus because yeah, it's no joke. But this video is getting long and I don't want it to get too long, so I hope this was a good video and it taught you guys something. I know for me, I was not good with credit. And also a good website to go to is nerdwallet.com. If you haven't heard of it, it's called nerdwallet.com. I will put the link below, or I will put the web URL below. It's called nerdwallet.com. It is a free credit check website. And so I hope you guys will check it out. It's completely free, and the credit scores are